See if this is still rolling. So, I'm a black gay person in the fantasy worlds of most people that are projected at least onto television and film and screen. Beautiful word. I'm not often included in those fantasies, and so I look at Star Trek, one of my favorite sort of fantasy world series, or many of the post-apocalyptic series, and I'm not there. Some people may see themselves, their efforts. Now, I can identify with characteristics, situations, experiences of many of the characters, but it's never like a black gay person is going to be a captain of a starship, whereas a white heterosexual male or female that sounds as if they've had a private school education, etc. They can be, someone who played Kunta Kinte can be the chief engineer of a starship, but on television, a black gay person can be someone like, I gotta get to it, Lafayette on True Blood. He's one of the few black gay characters on any mainstream show. We talk about Oz. Those I don't consider a prison situation where people's freedom is totally compromised. I think it totally changes the game. It makes sex, gender, race, and class much more transparent for people. So yes, I do think that the politics that you would see in a prison are those played out in society, which is why it's so entertaining, so interesting, so pleasurable, even for people to partake in those fantasies. Writing them, acting in them, projecting them, watching them, writing about them, surfing the web, and watching, clips, episodes, or YouTube videos of people talking about them. And so it is important that we constantly give context to our popular culture. It occurs to me when I talk to the young people in my family that most of the movies, or even the television I saw as a kid, was always accompanied by critique. Always accompanied by people making it relevant. People trying to identify with what's going on. So be it a Days of Our Lives or Another World, or be it, as I said, my sort of soap operas, television is there. It's part of American life. We talk about is the internet, the cable, this and then the other. So in my lifetime, I've seen the dawning of several leaps forward. I saw a leap forward from having 5 or 6 analog channels to cable, to satellite and hundreds of television stations, to what we seem to be now shifting towards is internet television. And what I say is, through it all, where are you located in all of this? I think when people look at the world around them, they take for granted that they are somehow reflected, and therefore their opinion matters, is relevant, is heard, and wants to be heard by others. And I put this forward because I want you to stop and consider what I'm saying about being reflected in the world around you. A lot of my videos that talk about gender, race, and class in India and caste really do touch upon the idea of how the world reflects status, how the world around us reflects desire. So when I talk about the matrimonios and what people just cut it down to, it's as crude as Oz, the prison narrative. So when you look at a matrimonial, yes, I'm comparing a HBO prison show to people writing matrimonials. Yes, I am. And what I'm saying is these are different locations where people project what they really want, what their base core values are. What I'm adding to that discussion is that we can understand them, we can empathize with them, we can see where we are, because in a sense we can look at them as a mirror. As a child beating its chest against its mother's breast, trying to figure out who, where, why, what, I am. I do think that our fantasies do that for us. So when I say there are so few characters that look like me on screen, there are so few characters that look like me. There are so few people like me who get to say how we look. Now, it's not to say that there aren't black gay men projecting behind the scenes, projecting images of heterosexual, white people all the time, anywhere. And of course, gay men dominate fashion and many industries of aesthetics, such that the wealthiest, of course, and most successful people in fashion are white gay men, and there even be some black gay men amongst them. So when you look at and the HIV/AIDS industry is an area where gay men excel. Are we somehow more organized? That was a little tangent. But that is to say that those are industries where we're there, but we're not even projecting ourselves. We're not even, so, you look at fashion, when I say fashion, probably most people even, you thought of women's bodies, fashion models, like Naomi Campbell, Christy Turlington, you probably, just the word itself, you probably don't think your cute shorts and your t-shirt. Because people have been so successful at dictating to you what fashion is. And behind those scenes is us, and yet you don't see us there. So the few times that again that you see us, that you see yourself in any way, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's the thing. You beating your chest, you're going to see your mother on a good day and say, oh, that's cute. And your mother on the bad day says, stop beating me, And the range of humanity and the human experience, you get to see that when you're reflected around you, when other people's voices, and that's simply what it is. When you become aware of other people's lives, you don't feel so isolated. And that's why it's so isolating, people say, to grow up gay. Because most people who grow up gay grow up isolated in heterosexual families that don't talk much about being gay. So you never get to hear a gay person's voice about being gay. First person narrative. You don't hear that. So you really have to grow up in a different way. That can make you very perceptive, intuitive, humanistic, develop many human qualities. Or just the bitchy side that's also there. But it gives it to you, it affords you. And people who have that luxury don't understand it. Those of us who don't have that luxury don't understand it, and that rage around us. So I just point to these characters around us. And now in my next video, I can talk about the characters. But this is just to introduce you to really, and I intentionally, as you know, go through tangents with it, circles, as if what you would call a fractal. Build and build so that you see the pattern. Because it does touch many aspects of our lives. We're not as compartmentalized as we'd like to believe. And the beauty of that is, the wondrousness of that is, we are all one. Ombe Kalen. We are one. That means to say that we're not that different from each other than we'd like to think. So when we point fingers, just remember the 3 fingers pointed back at you. That is something that we must develop as human beings in order to develop compassion in our lives. And I earnestly believe that. It's an exercise for all of us to do, really. Like, get to it. Think about some other person's perspective. And when you start to think about it, you might become aware that you don't see other people's perspectives around you. It's not reflected in the world around you, not in popular culture, television, simple shows on HBO and Showtime specials. The world around you reflects what? And then what do you see? Our tastes are not just, I like this, I like vanilla, and I don't like chocolate, or I like strawberry, and I don't like cookies and cream. We're taught this. It's not automatic that you like turmeric, the ginger, and the garlic in certain combinations just because you're born in a certain part of the world, and that you don't because you're in a different part. We're not that genetically different. And if we're not that genetically different, it means that none of us is genetically better or worse. Ombe Kalen.